So go ahead and raise your hand and give me one thing that you wrote on your brain dump. Yeah. Ron.
Decimals can be changed into fractions, or the opposite. Fractions can be changed into decimals.
Okay, what else? Alright, what else?
The divisor of whole number.
Okay, what else are we right? Yeah.
While talking, the dot is pronounced N.
Okay. Alright, what else?
Multiplying, move the decimal points to the side and then later.
Alright, what else are we right?
I have no example.
Excuse me, what?
I have an example.
Okay, go ahead.
I did 47 over 100 is 0.47%.
Okay. Alright, what else? What else did we write? Jasmine, sit up there. What else did we write? Anybody write? Emma.
When you multiply, you need to count the digits behind the decimals and then add them up.
Alright, what else?
There's tenths and hundredths instead of like tens and hundreds.
Alright. Anything else anybody wants to put on here? Yeah, Jonathan?
However, 0.1 equals 10, 0.01 plus 100, and 0.001 equals 1,000.
Alright, anything else? Yep, okay. I didn't hear what you said. $365? Like 67? Did I do that right? 768 and 42 hundredths? Is that what you got? 42? 30 what? What's 7 plus 5? Well, I wrote the wrong number because I can't hear what you're saying. Regardless. Alright, anything else you guys want to add? Alright, so this is a brain dump. If there's anything on here that you want to add to your page, I'm going to give you 1 minute to do that. Alright, you need a highlighter or a marker or a colored pencil, and grab the little half sheet of paper that I passed out to you guys, and slice your paper over. Alright, so very quickly, we're just gonna go through and highlight things that you feel are important to remember. This is gonna get glued into your notebook, and it's just kinda gonna be a reference sheet for you guys. So when we're adding, it says find the decimal, line up the decimal, fill in the empty spots with zeros, add, and bring the decimal down in your answer. So what is important that you kinda wanna highlight a little bit in just those bullets? Yes, ma'am?
Line up the decimal.
Line up the decimal is very important, okay? What else do you feel like? Yes, ma'am?
Fill up the empty spots.
Yes, so fill up those empty spots with zeros. Why do we need to do that? Like, why is that important? Ronnie?
It's like a placeholder.
Right, it's a placeholder, because sometimes if we don't, we'll shift our numbers over or we'll forget that it's there. All right, anything else that you want to highlight in that first one?
I will bring down the decimal.
Okay, so, making sure that you're bringing down that decimal. All right, so subtracting, it's actually the same. So do we want to highlight the same things? The line up the decimal, the fill in the empty space with zero, and then bring down in your answer? You want to highlight those? Yes, it's your notes, guys. It's not for me, it's for you. All right, slide down to multiplying or multiplication. All right, so it says the number with the most digits goes on top. Decimals do not have to line up. Multiply like normal. Count how many places in the first number the decimal is moved over. Count how many places in the second number the decimal is moved over. This is how many places you move the decimal in your answer. All right, so what's really important that we sometimes tend to forget when multiplying? What do we not have to do? Ada? Right, so that's something that you should definitely highlight, should definitely stand out. Do not line up your decimals when you're multiplying. Okay, and just counting the numbers to the right in the first and second, and then moving the decimal back into your answer. Alright, and then the division. I can highlight that faster. So it says the divisor cannot have a decimal. Move the decimal, I can't even read. Move the divisor decimal so it is a whole number. Move the same number of places in dividend. Place the decimal straight up when you write your answer and rewrite problems. Divide like normal. So what's important in that one? What's important, guys? Hi.
The divisor can't have a decimal.
Okay, so the divisor cannot have a decimal. Alright, what else is important? I need some new hands. What else is important? Christiana. Okay. What else is important? It's like one more thing that's important that you have to do. It's the process. Kylie. Well, that we always have to do, but you gotta move the same amount of places in your dividend. So if you move 3 on the outside, how many do you move on the inside? 3. Alright, so go ahead, get this moved into your notebook. If you need blue, send one person from your table over there to grab some glue sticks, please. Just one glue stick per table. And then it needs to go right back. All right, we are going to move over to our video that we're going to watch, then we're going to do our practice problems, and then we are going to do our hyperdoc activity today. So please, in your notebook, title the next blank left page, decimal hyperdoc activity, and today's date. Give me a thumbs up when you have this written down so I can follow. So at the moment, go ahead, just close your math notebook. Alright, so we're going to watch our video first.
Hi, I'm Rob. Welcome to Math Antics. In this lesson, we're going to learn about decimal arithmetic. But before we get started, if you don't already know how to do multi-digit arithmetic with regular whole numbers, be sure to watch our videos that cover those subjects first. That's really important because I'm just going to show you how you can modify the procedures that we already learned in those videos so that they work for decimal numbers. So if you don't know how to do those procedures already, this video won't make very much sense. Specifically, you should make sure you've watched the videos about multi-digit addition, subtraction, multiplication, and long division. If you know how to do the problems in those videos, then decimal arithmetic won't be too hard. That's because the procedures for decimal arithmetic are basically the same as they are for whole numbers. But there's a few important differences that you need to know about. And that's what I'm going to show you in this video. Are you ready? Let's start with an easy one. Multi-digit addition. When adding multi-digit whole numbers, the key was to stack the numbers up so that the ones place digits line up in a column, which ensured that all the other number places lined up in columns too. Then, you just add up the digits in each column, starting with the ones place and working to the left. Well, adding multi-digit decimal numbers works the same way. The main difference is that instead of lining up the ones place digits when we stack the numbers, we line up the decimal points instead. But wait a minute. I mean, isn't that the same thing as lining up the ones place digits? Ah, yes it is. And that's because the decimal is our reference mark that always goes between the ones place and the tenths place. So, lining up the decimal points is the same thing as lining up the ones places. It makes sure all the number places line up in columns. Now, you've probably noticed that decimal numbers can have different numbers of decimal digits. For example, 10.8 has only one decimal digit, but 5.34 has two decimal digits. And what that means is that when you line up the decimal points of the two decimal numbers, they might not form a nice column on the right edge. some of the digits might be missing. But that's no problem. Remember, if there's not a digit in a particular number place, you can just put a 0 there to help you keep track of things. Now that these numbers are lined up by their decimal points, we can add them column by column. But instead of starting with the ones place, like we always did with whole numbers, we start with whatever number place column is the furthest to the right. In this case, that's the hundredths place. So we'll start there. So we add the digits in each column, carrying or regrouping as needed, and we get 1614. So we're done, right? Wrong. There's one last really important step. Remember, we're doing decimal addition, so we can't just forget about that decimal point. We need to bring a copy of it straight down into our answer line, so we keep the same reference point for our number places. Now we can see that the answer is really 16.14. That's not so hard, is it? And I've got more good news. Decimal subtraction works the same way. You start by lining up the decimal points of the two numbers. Remember that the order of the numbers matters in subtraction, so be sure that the number you're taking away is on the bottom. Then, starting with whatever column is furthest to the right, you subtract the digits column by column, borrowing if you need to. After that, you just bring down a copy of the decimal point and you have your answer.
All right. Alright, so that was just kind of a brief reminder. So we are going to move into our EOG review. You need to use the one from Monday again, because the one that's linked on the rest of the week is not one that you can write on. So click on the EOG review questions from Monday and go to number, where we're starting. Stand up when you have this done, or when you get to this question. All right, have a seat. So what is important in our question? What's important in our question? It says, which statement is true?
The word true.
Okay, so the word true. So we're trying to figure out which one is true. Now, with this one, what's the easiest way to figure this out? What do we need to be looking at? Ronnie?
Each of the
Each of the what?
of the values, like the tenths, the hundreds.
Right, so we need to be looking at the place values. All right, so for the first one, the first place value right here is a 0. The first one right here is also a 0. So right now, they're still the same. We're trying to see if 4 hundredths is less than 4 thousandths. Well, if you look at the next place value, we have a 4 and then another 0. Which one is greater, 4 or 0? 4, right? So we know that A is not correct because 4 is greater than 0, 4 is not less than 0. Does that make sense? Okay, so now let's look at the next one. Looking at our place values, we have a 2 And then we have a 0 in the tenths place. So is 2 less than 0? No, so therefore we know that B is not correct. All right, looking at C. Take a minute before we move any further. What does that line above the 6 mean? What does that line above the 6 mean, Zoe?
It's repeating.
It's repeating. So really this number is 7.6 and 6 and 6 and 6 and 6 and 6, right? So it'll go on forever. So when we look at this place value and this place value, they're the same. The next place value for the first number, what number is going to go in our 1,000? I'm sorry, in our 100. What number is going to go in the 100? Elisa? 6. So, is 6 less than 7? 6 is less than 7, so that's more than likely our answer. So I'm going to circle that one, but I'm quickly going to look down here. Okay, 0, 0, 3, 0. So we know that D is not correct. Okay, so knowing place value is really, really important when you're dealing with decimals. All right, questions about that one? Now, technically, this wasn't an outright decimal, adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing, but you're going to notice some of the questions we go over today, it's just not a straightforward, hey, here's this number, and here's this number, add it, multiply, divide it. All right, go on to, should be number 17. No, sorry, number 13. So go to number 13. Elisa, your headphones are in the office. Alright, so in number 13, this one's going to be a little bit harder because what do we not have to use to help us? What do we not have to use to help us with our answer? Zoe?
Multiple choice.
Right, we don't have multiple choice. So now we don't really know, we hope we get the answer right, but we don't know if it's going to be right. Alright, so let's go ahead and annotate this one. Alright, so it says Jenny bought gas for her car. Gas costs $3.45 per gallon. Jenny bought 12 2/10 gallons. What was the total cost for Jenny's gas? Then, I'm going to already highlight, it says express the answer in dollars and cents. We have got to pay attention to this because a lot of times we just put decimals after decimals after decimals and it doesn't make any sense. All right, what else is important in this question? Ronnie?
Gas costs $3.25 per gallon.
Okay.
Jenny bought 12.2 gallons.
Okay. So, let's go ahead and solve this problem now. What do we have to do? What are we doing here? Are we adding? Yes or no? No, we're not adding. Are we multiplying? We are multiplying. All right, do I line up my decimals? So I'm going to put, for now, $3.45, and I'm going to put 12 2/10. I'm going to move my decimal 2 places to the right, and this decimal 1 place to the right. When I add those up, I get 3. I'm going to save that for later. Does that make sense? Does everybody understand why I did that? Is there anybody who doesn't understand? All right, go ahead. Multiply as regular. You should be doing the work in your notebook. I don't know why any of y'all are writing on your archives. That didn't change from yesterday. go with this, and that's okay. Go ahead and have a seat. So when I do 2 times, or 5 times 2, I get 10. When I do 2 times 4, I get what? What's 2 times 4?
8.
Plus 1? 2 times 3? Now I'm putting a 0 there and I'm crossing out my 2. Why do you think I did that? Why did I put a 0 and then cross out that 2 that I just used?
Because you've already multiplied.
Because I've already multiplied and I don't want to get confused because there are 2 2's right there. So I do not want to get confused. Alright, so essentially I'm going to have the exact same number. So I'm going to cross that out and I'm putting 2 zeros. Why? Why did I put 2 zeros? Noah.
It's 100 and 50 zeros after 100, and you can't like.
So that I stay what, in line? Okay. Alright, and then I have 5, 4, 3. I'm going to add all of these up. 0. Yeah. 1. No. That should be 2. Sorry. Alright, how many decimals did I count and put to the side? 3. So in my answer, I'm going to move 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to make that my answer. Now, what does it tell me to do for my answer? What does it tell me to do? Christiana. Okay, so I'm going to put 42.090. Is that my answer? Well, that's what I got. So why is that not my answer? Why would that be marked wrong? Lily.
Because we're doing dollars and cents only go back 2 zeros.
Right. So do not put in that extra 0 at the end. Okay? That is the correct answer, not the extra 0. Does that make sense? Okay, we are going to go through all these questions, and we're going to go to section 1. We're going to number 4. Okay, number 4. There's like 47 questions. Alright, sorry, section 2, and then you're going to number 4. So you're going to this one. Alright, stand up when you get there. I'll just let Miss Vicky know you're coming, okay? Okay, so we are going to annotate and solve. Alright, so it says Karen ordered 2 hot dogs for $1.25 each, a serving of onion rings for $2.99, and a drink for 80 or 98 cents. Karen pays with a $10 bill. If tax is included in the prices, how much change will Karen receive? So what's important in this first section of the first sentence? Kaya.
2 hot dogs for $1.25 each.
Okay. Alright. What's important? Pointless. In the next section of that first sentence. Ronnie.
Saving for $2.
Okay. And the last section of that sentence, what's important? Gemma?
A drink for 98 cents.
Alright. The next sentence, what's important there? What's important in that next sentence? Someone other than Ronnie today. Camden.
Pays with a $10 bill.
Okay, pays with a $10 bill. And then the last sentence, what's important?
With taxes including prices and exchange currency.
So essentially the whole thing, right?
Yes.
Alright, I'm going to let you guys solve this problem. Okay, so solve it, stand up when you're done. I'm gonna give you 3 minutes. Should not take much longer than that. So you should be writing and solving, not staring up at the ceiling or out the window or anything else right now. Okay, so what do we have to do first? And let me ask this, how many steps is this problem? How many steps is this problem? What do you think, Aiden? Possibly. Possibly 4. How many, did somebody do less than 4? Okay, how many did you do? 2? Did anybody do more than 4? Or more than 2? So essentially 3 steps. So depending on how you do this problem, it can be a 2-step problem, it can be a 3-step problem, or possibly a 4-step problem. It's really just how confident you are in your ability to add, subtract, and multiply, correct? So the first thing, it says 2 hot dogs for $1.25 each. Easy killer. So does that mean it's $1.25, or does it mean we need to do $1.25 times 2? Christiana? All right, so essentially your very first step would be doing $1.25 times 2, or adding it $1.25 plus $1.25. Regardless, you get $2.50. Now, what do I do with that $2.50? What am I going to do with it? Noah? Add it to what?
$2.99.
Am I adding anything else to that?
Oh, you can add 0.98 to.
All right, so essentially I'm adding the rest of the stuff that she bought together. When you add that up, what do you get? The $2.50 plus $2.99 plus 98 cents. Kylie?
I have $6.47.
All right, $6.47. How many of you guys picked that as your answer? Good. No? Yes? Okay. Why do you think they put this up here? Why do you think they put it up here?
Because if you do this step where it subtracts 47.
Right, but why did they put $6.47 knowing you're going to get $6.47? William?
Because it was probably or just to throw you off.
Yes. That is 100% it. They put it there because they know you're in the midst of a test, you're, however many questions in, and you get $6.40 and you look over at your answer choices and there's an answer choice of $6.47. They're hoping that you don't keep going and you circle that. This is not the right answer because we have one more step to do, right? Because the question is asking, if tax is included in the prices, how much change will she get back? So now, what do we have to do with the $6.47? Kylie?
Subtract it from $10.
Okay. All the while, I'm lining up my decimals because I am adding and subtracting. What is my answer? What is my answer? Troy?
$3.
All right, how many of us got $3.53? Okay, good job. Now, we are done with the practice problems for today. So you can go ahead and, today, you are going to be doing a hyperdoc. Now, how many of you guys have ever done a hyperdoc before? Okay. A hyperdoc is just a document that has a whole bunch of links to it. All right? So you have an engage part, you have an explore part, you have an explain part, and the elaborate part, and an evaluate part. On here, on this sheet of paper that I passed out to you guys, looks like this. So it's the decimal hyperdoc activity. So get this piece of paper out, pass it out to everybody while you guys were working. For the engage, it says right next to it, you have to complete this activity. So what you guys are gonna do when you start this activity is you're simply gonna click on that. It's gonna take you, and I know it works because I tried it on one of your iPads, I promise. Maybe. So you're just gonna read through this real quickly, blah, 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 read through it, read through it, read through it, read through it, watch the video, that's it. You check off saying you did that. Now, for the Explorer, so you go back to your hyperdoc, and this is why you need headphones, because a lot of this stuff is watching a video and then doing practice. So for the Explorer, it tells you have to pick 2 of the 3 things. So there's complete adding and subtracting, complete multiplying, complete dividing. This gives you the option to work on what you feel like you need to work on. So if you know that you kind of struggle with dividing, that's probably the one you should pick. And then if you're like, well, multiplying I'm good with, let me just do the adding and subtracting. But you have to pick two, and you have to check off on here and tell me which two you did. Does that make sense? You're completing all this work that you have to complete in your notebook. For the explain, it says pick 2 videos from each column. So for adding decimals, you have 4, you have to pick 2. For subtracting, you have 2, you have 2, I can't count. You have 3, you have to pick 2. For multiplying, you have 4, you have to pick 2. For dividing, you have 4, you have to pick 2. Just watching videos. You simply just need to tell me what the name of the video was. That's it. For the elaborate, again, it says pick 2 of the 3. So you're picking 2 of the 3 here. For evaluate, you have to pick 1 from each column. And then the extra credit, if you read it, it says if you finish in time. The back part says for each one that you complete, you get 5 extra credit points for the extra practice stuff on the bottom. Okay? Questions? You may move around the room. You may sit on the counter. You may get comfortable. If you are going through and you're confused or you're not sure, just come and ask for help and be like, okay, I watched this video, what do I do? Or I did this, what do I do? Everything is to be done in your notebook that you have to do in your notebook. This gets turned in to me. Does that make sense? All right, go ahead and get started.